We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. At some point, we're going to talk about mental health awareness and a lot of stuff that's been happening lately. And hopefully, we'll have a special guest via phone later on. Jay Mills, running for Ward 5 Committee Woman of the Democratic State Committee. Supposed to be calling in a little later, so hopefully we'll have her. In the meantime, we have a poll going, ladies and gentlemen. Poll. You can find the link on the Instagram page. Also, I've posted on Facebook and Twitter. Our handles are at Bars on Air, BARSONAIR. The poll is, if winning proves to be contagious, which one of the other three major DC sports teams can you see winning a championship in the next 3 to 5 years? The Nats, the Skins, the Wizards, or nobody? You make the call. The poll is open until 12:45 today. The results will be read toward the end of the show. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into some music. Mr. Dramacidal featuring Bishop King. You heard this last week. We're going to spin this again. This is real here on Bars.
You already know what it is with me, baby. It's Bishop King, baby. PMG to beat the block. Hey, D.
Hey, man, what's up, man?
You ain't really think they gangsters, huh? You ain't no gangster. Steve. Hey, everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. But we kill it till it's really time to kill. Everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. But we kill it till it's really time to kill. I try to tell them Bishop King ain't leaving. I'm going on a rampage from DC to Cleveland. Same nigga, he be hating, same wiggin' with his hand out. Say he be a real nigga, but he got his hands out. So say he run the trap, don't believe. Every time I'm in the hood, a nigga don't see it. Never say he got the position, but he really be the lawn chair. All he ever did was phone. But I'm on the stand, all he ever did was told. 6 years later, they done free my nigga. No, never been a rat, nigga. Never been a snitch. I ain't never been a sucker, nigga. Never been a bitch. Never hoes, never trust a soul. Never trust a nigga. Always talking with his soul. You a real live gangster, you a see to me. What would you do if you was me? Everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. But we kill it till it's really time to kill. Everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. Or you a killer till it's really time to kill.
Game twisted, pulling on triggers, hitting the innocent. Pull up, dump on the block. That old scurry bitch, scared to leave the hood, man, homie. You want some bangers, man? It's real killers trying to get at you behind that bullshit. It's sweating, scared to death, Lord, homie. You wasn't thinking, was you trying to be the muscle? Now you caught up in some real trouble. Trying to be a real lady again, see, that's what you thought, huh? Riding for the hood to show you real, that's what you thought, huh? Sell blocks on a pine box, what's route you taking? Real killers would rather face that time without no hesitation. You bought this life, now get yourself up off this situation. Should've thought twice before you hit the neighborhood spraying. Reap with your soda, reaper knocking at your front door. You thought it was a game, but this game ain't no joke. Soon as you thought it was over and got your mind clear, them real killers caught up with you and got you out of here.
Everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. But we kill it till it's really time to kill. Everybody be the realest of the real. Everybody keep it real until it's real. Everybody say they trapping with the traps. Or you a killer till it's really time to kill. You ain't no gangster, Steve. Hey, D. These friggin' really think they gangsters, huh? Again, this You ain't no gangster, Steve.
If you're an urban contemporary indie artist, then this is your platform. Send us clean versions of your music to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. winddcradio.com. Welcome back to the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on winddcradio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media. It's the sports take you want to hear from the self-proclaimed expert who knows absolutely, positively nothing at all. These are the reads from the nosebleeds, only on the Balancing Act Radio Show.
Yeah, so we gotta send a huge congratulations. And I just want to give y'all a heads up. While I'm saying what I'm saying, there's going to be some shifting around. There's going to be some things going on because trying to take care of a few technical difficulties. So I'm going to be multitasking. But anyway, got to send a huge congratulations to the Stanley Cup champion, Washington Capitals. 44 years, They have been struggling. They have been clawing. They've been fighting to get to that level. Have had a lot of disappointment in that time. But now they can finally call themselves champions. 44 years in the making. And also, it's been 26 years since any major league sports team in DC. We're not talking about DC United, not talking about the WNBA, not talking about the Mystics. Definitely not talking about the Valor, because they just got here and they really haven't been doing too good. But of the four majors, it had been 26 years since the 91 Skins won the Super Bowl in 92 against the Buffalo Bills, since we've had a champion. And so I think the city was starved for a champion. And so once again, congratulations to the Washington Capitals. They fought for this one. I mean, they really had to fight, claw for this victory. Because in previous years, you know, they had been like, I think they had won the President's Cup, and for those who don't really know hockey, pretty much they had the best record in the NHL for three years. And I want to say in the stretch that Ovechkin has been here, they had been to the playoffs 8 times previously, but couldn't get past the second round. And so, and a lot of times they would have the best record in the division or the best record in the entire NHL. So this time around, now granted, they still won the division, but when they got to the later rounds, when they had to go play Tampa Bay, they had to go to Tampa Bay. When they had to get to the Stanley Cup Finals, they had to play Vegas in Vegas. Like, Vegas had the home ice advantage. And so because they had to fight, and pretty much every series that they were in, they were behind. They were behind. They were behind the Columbus, down 2-0. Came back, reeled off 4 straight. They went back and forth with the Penguins, got down in that series. Next thing you know, came back in that series. They went up 2-0 on Tampa Bay, then went down 3-2, losing 3 straight. You would think you lose 3 straight, it's like, okay, is Columbus coming back to haunt you now? Because you reeled off 4 straight against them, so is Tampa Bay going to reel off 4 straight against you? They still fought, they still clawed for that victory. In the Vegas series, I mean, they were down 1-0, but then that parlays right into what I feel like, and I said this last week, what I feel like was the deciding moment in that series for the Caps. That was what showed me something about them, because they were up 3-2. Tampa Bay, I think they had Marc-Andre Fleury. He went to the bench, so they had the man advantage. And easily, you would think, okay, this is dangerous. Vegas can be a dangerous team. So the guy Tuck, I forget his first name, number 80, I think his number's 89 from Vegas. He gets a shot that in any other situation probably would have gone in if he would have gotten that puck a little bit over Braden Holtby's stick. But all I can say, I feel like this is like the theme of the year, 2018, God's plan, because Holtby's stick was right in the right place at the right time, and it stopped that goal from going in, because if it had got a little higher, it'd been a 3-3 tie, possibly could have gone to overtime, or they possibly could have gotten another goal before regulation had ended. And they could have taken a 2-0 advantage. Now, I don't think they would have swept the Caps, but I also believe that it would have been a struggle for the Caps. They would have had to fight and claw once again. And Vegas is they're a good team, worthy opponent. But that, to me, Braden Holtby's save is definitely probably one of the biggest saves of the year, not just for the Caps, but in hockey, period. Because I really feel like that was the death knell for the Golden Knights. They just didn't have that same punch. They didn't have that same edge. They fought in Game 5. Game 5 was like probably their best game probably since Game 1. But the Caps wanted it more. And so we got to talk about that. Got to talk about Smith-Pelly, Devontae Smith-Pelly, DSP. Y'all know I've been, shouting that brother out. This is a guy who only had maybe, I think it was 5 or 6 goals during the regular season. 75 games he played in, only had about 5 or 6 goals. Maybe even less than that, but I think it was 5. Gets in the playoffs. Last week I told y'all he had 6. And of course, when we're down 3-2 and we need somebody to step up the most, he scores the game-time goal. And to me, we could talk about the game-winning goal, which is important. Let's not poo-poo that. But Devontae Smith-Pelly came up in critical moments in the playoffs when they needed it the most. We were down, we were up, and needed to be up a little bit more. He would either give you the equalizer, the insurance goal, or the go-ahead goal. And this is a guy, like I said, he didn't score that much during the regular season, but I think one of the issues with the Caps for years was the fact that when it came to the playoffs, they didn't have that one guy other than Ovechkin that you could really depend on, other than the main guys. Because, Smith-Pelly, he's not that guy during the season. He's not TJ Oshie. He's not talked about as much as Kuznetsov. But when you needed it in those moments, he showed up. And so, for me, he's probably one of the biggest unsung heroes for the Caps Stanley Cup run in their championship. And of course, we have to talk about the Great Eight, Alex Ovechkin. This is a guy who has been struggling to win his entire career. It's been close, been one of the greatest scorers, not just in the modern era, but really of all time. He's going to go down as an all-time great. But he needed to do different things other than score. He needed to live up to being a captain. He needed to live up to being the leader of this team. Because he's the face of the franchise. No matter what we say, no matter who we may love, no matter who's our favorite players on the Caps, Alex Ovechkin is the face of the franchise. And the fact that he couldn't get past that hump, it was problematic. And so this year, not only was he scoring, but he was leading. And the guys really were rallying around him. So I think, if anything, I'm happy for everybody. Of course, I done said to people that I feel like were some of the most important people. Like I said, Holtby, Smith-Pelly, an unsung hero. Of course, you got to talk about a lot of the other guys who stepped up. Kuznetsov, Jacob Vrana, being a rookie, being a young guy, stepping up. TJ Oshie, Tom Wilson, my goodness. This guy, this guy's like the Charles Oakley of the ice. Because when you just need somebody to lay a big hit, you need somebody to be an enforcer. Tom Wilson was usually in the fray. He was usually the guy that was like, he was from the Wishful Woods. And I can't say what I really want to say, but y'all who listening, y'all know what I'm trying to get at. But he was that guy. You really didn't want no smoke with him. But Alex Ovechkin, he just stepped it up and lived up to that leadership role and did what a guy in his position should do for a team that's trying to win a championship. And I felt like this year, it's funny, my t-shirt that I had, that I bought, says our year. And I really feel like that's what they believed, that this was their year. It was their time. They had been tired of getting close, tired of getting knocked out the playoffs. If it wasn't Pittsburgh, which is usually the case, it was the Rangers. And so this time around, they were like, no, nobody's going to stop us. We don't care if we're getting down. We're going to fight. We're going to claw because we're the best team in hockey. They believed it, they lived it, and now they're champions. And, of course, I got to talk about the experience of them winning the actual cup. Like, let me tell you, when Smith Pelly scored that tying goal, I hollered. I don't know if I've ever hollered so hard at somebody scoring anything. But I literally hollered like he was one of my homies and, you know, we go way back. Or as if I'm on the team with him. And so I was just so excited. And then when they won, I'm at work, mind you, but I work right down the street from Capital One Arena, Verizon Center. Some people I know still call it MCI Center. Phone booth, now it's the ATM. But I literally stopped everything I was doing, walked up the street, and it was just a beautiful sight to see because, again, I was young when the Skins won in 83, well, 82 season, 87 season, and 91 season. I was kind of young, so I wasn't going to many parades. Couldn't really get out of school to go to parades because parades, for whatever reason, are always during the week, which I don't get. You know, but that's neither here nor there. But to be able to be old enough to go to see that moment after they win, I mean, it was just electric. The chants, everybody walking around in their Caps gear, people just like excited. And I like the fact that DC kept it civil, because you hear about some cities, I'm not naming no names, but some cities, people climb up on poles, people trying to flip over cop cars, do all types of crazy stuff, vandalizing, breaking up stuff. Now, granted, you walk the streets, it was a whole bunch of broken bottles, smashed beer cans, McDonald's wrappers, because you know the McDonald's right there at Chinatown. So it's like a whole bunch going on, but yet people kept it civil. And just like I said, just the scene, it was just a beautiful thing. And then you get to the parade. Now, I missed the parade because, you know, I had to take care of some family issues before I got down there. But I was able to catch the rally. And just to see the sea of red. I mean, because anybody who knows me knows red is my favorite color anyway. So rock the red, that's right up my alley. But then to just see so many people of so many different backgrounds just out there, just happy. You got some people who've been Caps fans since the Capitol Center, back when they first started in '74. You got some people who've been Caps fans their whole life, and you got people like me who've been Caps fans for probably like the last decade. But no matter what, people were just happy to see a DC team win. And so that was one of the biggest things that was just so great to see. And now, let's just call a spade a spade. The other teams are on the clock. What y'all gonna do? Nationals, Washington NFL team, Wizards. What y'all gonna do now? And so, again, we got the poll going on. If winning is contagious, which of the other three majors do y'all see winning a championship in the next 3 to 5 years? Nats, Skins, Wizards, or nobody? Again, the poll, you can go to the link in our bio on Instagram at Bars On Air. There's also links on Facebook and Twitter on both pages at Bars On Air. Go vote in the poll. Right now, swinging in a certain direction. Not going to tell y'all what it is until the end of the show. Y'all just got to keep listening. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to continue reads from the nosebleeds because we got to talk about NBA Finals. We're going to carry that on the other side of the break right now. We got Subliminal Thought. Yeah, you should be afraid. You should be afraid, Gangsta B. Gangsta B here in the building. He here, but he not here. You know what I'm saying? He had a Yeah. Yes. There was a broom that was involved. We all know. And a dustpan. But we gonna address that right now. We gonna get into some subliminal thought. This is the Revival here on Bars.
Look, we about to get loose for a second. Ain't no telling what these gonna do to this record. Ain't no telling. Cause I've been spitting in the booth for a second. Just came out, now I had the juice for a second. Look, I'm first and never two for a second. You was hot last year for like 2/2 of a second. Now it's my year, I've been due for a second. Took a minute, but these knew the crew for a second. Drop one album, now we do for a second. Hands out, free food, asking for seconds. Look, I do this here with mad passion, aggressive. When I spit, I make them listen. Class is in session. Look, your favorite calling me, asking for lessons. What to write about and what to do, asking suggestions. Look, I told that before feet, I can help you when you ready. Hit me till then, stop asking me questions. Rap phenomenon, fall like they Babylon. Tell you anything, just be talking, they Babylon. Mama never raised me the foe, she told me put pressure on. Let niggas know off the top and they wanna dress you wrong. I want the whole house, no dairy on. First class feet on the couch, no carry on. Flight quick, only flew for a second. Clock kept, boy, I'm in and out the booth in a second.
Yeah, sit it and I break on the verge until we let go. Take him for a sip if you wanna and see how that go. City ABs on the corner, plotting the owner. Yeah, you can read if you wanna, or keep on feeding Corona. Well, I be drinking Corona, stay with the fly senores. We skinny dipping La Hora. Yeah, I'm the Captain Door. So I explore where I wanna, so y'all be blessed with the honor. Watching the rocks when I know you're the tippy top and beyond. You nerve to ask me, please, Mr. City, please slow down. You're too fast, let him catch up. You might as well rob a bank with your mask up, or maybe pick a different occupation, get your cash up. Can't do bigger or better than throw them hands up. Can't beat, can't stop, derail, they wanna ban us. Know to take a microphone hostage for no ransom. Did it and I use it again, now throw your tantrum. I've been dope, don't need your approval. Been a boss man, exec level before I knew you. I can dumb it down, or maybe if you hung around, you might learn a lesson or two. So sit somewhere, clown. Blood bought, mixed in real focus. I swear, it's not my fault, the good Lord chose us. The more you know, can't say I ain't told you. So cry your eyes out, kids, I ain't over.
I ain't joking,
For real, dog.
I'm too focused.
Better sleep with one eye open.
Time's up, game over.
They better pack it up and start right over.
For this get the acting up and spot right on you.
Oh, behave, just a couple O's away.
We rich now, getting money till we old and gray. Rolling J's, Trey smoking O's for days.
So yeah, we finished now. This the part we supposed to wait. See ya.
Want to get down with the Bars Revolution? We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bars On Air.
So good. J-Heat. Hustle every anything. Flex on flex on flex. Yes. Flex on flex on flex. Flex on flex on flex on flex. When I flex, I flex the best. When I flex on flex. Yes. Flex on flex on flex. Like me. Flex on flex on flex. With a G. When I flex, we flex the best. When I flex on flex on flex. Yes. Flex on flex on flex. Like me. Can't flex with J-Heat. Okay, I be drippin' swag, boy, that's flex on top of flex. We drippin'. Get cash, boy, that's checks on top of checks. Dropping hits, yo, yeah, the next after the next. Like Khaled that said, yo, we the best out of the best. Okay, I been on flex. Wrist game flex. Whip game flex. Riding with your chick, got your on flex. And we blowing on that gas, got a zip on deck like flex. Hey, that's that flexation. Take a vacation. That's that flexcation. When they flex Nathan, that's when they flex hating. But if they wanna flex, no, I keep that flex waiting. I flex the best. When I flex on flex, yes. They can't do it like me. Can't with a G. When I flex, with J Heat. This that water flow. Calling plays, I got that auto blessing. When I'm not around, she listen to me on the audio. Cause I got game, more game than a carnival. You ain't got no game, yo, this old, you a dinosaur. Just wanna bring that beef, I eat it like a carnival. Anyone can get it, any, meeny, miny, mo. I'ma come out swinging like Geronimo. Who the f is trying to go? Tell your bitch it's time to go. Took her from that party, now it's time to get that private show. She sick of all you lames, she use me as the antidote. Finna kill that, put this bullet in her pantyhose. She looking like a star, so I had to make a cameo. Booty so round, yeah, I call that day that merry-go. We be getting money, we be stunting everywhere we go. When I ride by, they like, oh, when they go. I flex the best, when I flex. Flex, yes. They can't do it like me, can't with a G, when I flex. We flex. I flex the best, when I flex. Flex, yes. They can't do it like me, can't with J Heat. We flexin'. Flex, yes. Flex. We flexin'.
Want to get down with the Bars Revolution? We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bars On Air.
Precious. Do you think you can measure? Do you think you can measure? Yeah. Yeah, I got flows that drop jaws, just a chills ass alien. I'm Paul, or just a wizard. Yeah, John Wall, no, not y'all. Why these lames at the table? Their life's a fable, and we kept grinding once we learned we were able. It's just us five, but we not coming up short, Fab Five. We live to die, so I take the time to hate. Caution on the booth, cause it ain't safe. Going crazy, going dumb. They say I'm the chosen one. They say I'm the chosen one. Do you think you can handle life's pressures? Do you think you can measure? Do you think you can measure? Yeah. Drop heat, Dante's Inferno. Used to ride the stallions round merry-go. But no, I got one girl in my life and I can't let her go. They say how so? Live your life. But what is life if you can't share it? I swear it, I'll spit truth till everyone hear it. Life-proof case on the phone, so bars are coming, rain, sleet, even snow. And the flow keeps switching, so I'm out of control. Going crazy, going dumb. They say I'm the chosen one. They say I'm the chosen one. Do you think you can handle life's pressures? Yeah. Do you think you can measure?
It's time to get back to AJ Throwback and Bars, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.Media.
And like I said, we back, and we're going to talk about these NBA Finals. A lot of stuff going on. Of course, we crowning a new champion, which is really an old champion. You know, defending champions back-to-back. First time since the Heat, when LeBron was with the Heat, had back-to-back champions. Golden State Warriors. They decided to play janitor. Sweep them boys. You know what I mean? They just couldn't measure up. that was not on purpose. Shout out Fender Great song we just played, Measure. They just couldn't measure up, man. They just couldn't hang with the Warriors. Yeah, it wasn't good for the Cavs. They tried. They gave it the college try, but that probably was the problem. They gave it the college try instead of the pro try. The main person who was playing for the Cavs was LeBron, but LeBron can't take on Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and the rest of the team, you know. And I really feel like it's really two pivotal games that decided this series. Of course, game one. And then, I mean, there were a few things in game one that just messed it up. Of course, we know about J.R. Smith. But the thing is, he's been doing bonehead things for the longest time. And he's inconsistent. And he's been inconsistent all year. I mean, he was in and out of the rotation really all year long. He was, at one point, not even part of the regular rotation because he was that inconsistent. I mean, he was pretty much a glorified Rodney Hood. Rodney Hood was in the same position, in and out of the rotation, not doing good. Now, granted, J.R. Smith was doing better, but it's like, bruh, how do you not know the situation that's going on? How do you not know that the teams are tied and your team needs a bucket? George Hill just misses a free throw. You're still tied. Get the ball to LeBron or take the shot yourself. Do something. Don't just run. Like, you literally just ran away, bruh. And so that was a trash moment. Yeah, that was a trash moment. So, of course, George Hill missing a free throw. But then he missed free throws also in game 4. The Cavs were just struggling with free throws all the way around in pivotal moments of the games. But, I mean, we know that the officiating was trash first 2 games, of course, because it was in Oakland at Oracle Arena. But then it shifts to Cleveland, and I wish people just understood that it's like when you're playing a team like the Warriors and you know they're a third quarter team, and if they get up on you in the third quarter, that's it. It's a wrap. Like, you really have to create some distance between you and the Warriors in order to really have a fighting chance in the game. Because if you don't, I mean, it's a problem. And so then we get to game 4, because I'm not even going to talk about game 2 or game 3. Now, granted, I feel like game 3 was probably the Cavs' best chance at winning a game after game 1, because they just really weren't in game 2. Game 3, they were in it, but then they messed up at points. But game 4, they're up on the Warriors. But then they get down. Warriors up on them pretty much the whole game after the first quarter. But at the end of the second quarter, game 4, I said, if the Cavs don't whittle this lead down that the Warriors have to 5 points or less, they're going to get blown out and they're going to get swept. And lo and behold, it's a 6-point game. I think it's 58 to 52. Yes, 58 to 52. Warriors take a timeout. Get the ball. Steph Curry, what does he do, as he's infamous for doing at the end of quarters, at the end of halves? Hits a 3 right in LeBron's face. I was like, it's over. These dudes are done. Just like I said with Braden Holtby in the Caps Vegas series, his goal or his goal stopping of Tuck when it's 3-2, game 2, same thing with game 1 for the Cavs. Once that game didn't go their way, I didn't really have a whole lot of hope for them. I felt like they would win at least one game at Quicken Loans Arena, but I was wrong. And I have no problems with saying that I was wrong. They just didn't have a fight after a while. And it was apparent LeBron was tired because he's always doing the most. And nobody really was consistent enough to say, hey, I'll be the guy to help you out. Couldn't depend on Kevin Love. Kevin Love would give you some moments, but then it's like, okay, Kevin Love, where are you when LeBron needs you? J.R. Smith has been inconsistent since the Nuggets. And it might seem like I'm just hard on J.R. Smith, but he's somebody who has potential, but I don't know. He kind of gives me a Nick Anderson from the Magic vibe. Yeah, I'm going back to Nick Anderson. But he gives me that vibe. Like, you have the potential. You can be a potent shooter when you want to be, but you can also be a streaky shooter when you want to be, and you could be a sometimesy defender. Larry Nance Jr., he'd have his moments, but, you know, he's not really in the starting rotation. Rodney Hood played decent defense at moments. He played great offense in Game 3. Pretty good defense in Game 4. But none of the efforts matched LeBron's effort. Come on, the guy averaged 38, 39 points in the finals. Had like 11 rebounds and something like 7, 8 assists. He was above his average, his typical average during the season, his career average. And it still wasn't enough. So, I don't know where he's going to land next year. I'm going to say this, though. I mean, people keep talking about all the places he might land. Houston, maybe San Antonio, possibly the Sixers. And I'm going to say this about that. Now, the Wizards, they're my team. But the Sixers have been my second team for a long time. Really going back to the AI days. But specifically because my young brother works for the Sixers. Shout out my young brother. Don't be trying to hit him up for tickets neither. But nah, for real though. But hey, I might be in some extra Sixers games next year. I'm just saying, they right up the road. Right up the road. Now, if they play the Wizards, I'm still gonna root for the Wizards. But still, you know, that's just a trip right up 95. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna get into the whole, is LeBron the GOAT? Isn't he the GOAT? All I'm going to say, and I'm going to try to keep this part brief, you can't poo-poo the fact that people who are considered GOATs, whether you're talking about, you got some people who feel like Magic Johnson's the GOAT. You got some people who feel like Kareem's the GOAT. You got a lot of people who feel like Bill Russell's the GOAT. But part of the reason why these guys are considered the GOATs, it's not because of just the stats. It's not just because they're Hall of Famers. But what is the point of the stats? What is the point of being the most dominant basketball player in the game of basketball if you don't win at the highest level? I'm not trying to compare him to Jordan. All I'm saying is if this is your guy, LeBron Hive, if this is your guy, he needs to win more championships. He can't get swept twice in the finals. He's been swept twice. He's lost 2 series in 5 games. He's lost another 2 series in 6. And one of those series he shouldn't have lost to the Mavericks. They shouldn't have lost that series. I will go to the grave saying that. They shouldn't have lost to the Mavericks. That was supposed to be their championship. And LeBron disappeared in that championship. Dwayne Wade was the main reason they were in that championship. But I digress. The point is, he is now 3-6 in the finals. That's not GOAT status. I don't care if he's been to 8 straight finals. He's 3-6. Now, granted, it's a team sport, and he can't get all of the blame because there are other pieces. I mean, you can't, come on, 07, he's young. Best thing he got other than him is like Larry Hughes. They get swept by the Spurs. But all of these other teams, the 4 teams in Miami, shouldn't have lost to the Mavericks. You got beat by a better Spurs team in 2014. Could have honestly lost in 2013. Could have honestly lost to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I don't want to spend too much time on LeBron because we got to talk about KD and Steph Curry. The Warriors are the winners, not the Cavs. KD gets MVP 2 years in a row, Finals MVP. Deserves it, honestly. Even in the series that he lost to LeBron when he was with the Thunder, he was the most consistent player on the court. Last year, most consistent player on the court. This year, and that's why I want to bring Curry into the equation, because the first 2 games, I felt like, okay, Steph trying to win this Finals MVP. He tired. Look, Andre Iguodala won it in 2015. Kevin Durant won it last year. But Steph is supposed to be the main face of the franchise. He's been the main face of the franchise for years now. But he's never won Finals MVP. And so first 2 games, I'm like, okay, he might do it. This might be his time. Because Kevin Durant, although he had 26 points in that game, he was 8 for 22 shooting, 1 for 7 from 3. Very inefficient game. Wasn't taking great shots. But then game 3 happened. And even with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, my goodness, that man couldn't hit the broadside of the barn that game. It wasn't good. And as soon as he had that bad game, I was like, Kevin Durant is going to be the back-to-back Finals MVP. Because he had to be the guy in game 3 to get that W. Because if he doesn't have a good game, if all 3 of the big 3 have a bad game in that game, Cavs win that game. They don't get swept. And it's possibly a different series. But KD stepped up. Stepped up, showed off. I mean, it wasn't a shot he couldn't hit in that game. I mean, granted, I feel like KD is one of the greatest pure shooters I have ever seen play the game of basketball. Just can hit a shot from anywhere. Literally will pull up from 30, 40, and hit it easily, like it's nothing. But again, Steph Curry, if he didn't have a bad game, he might actually would have had a Finals MVP crown. And I wonder, he puts on the happy face. And I'm sure, he just wants to win championships. And he's not really as concerned with, okay, well, Andre Iguodala got it in 15. Kevin got it last year. This is my time. It's finally time. But I know it's got to feel some kind of way because, Steph is one of the greatest shooters to ever play the game of basketball. There's no doubt about that. But, again, if you're the face, why aren't you really, stepping up consistently in the finals? Can't question KD on that one. Because even though Steph had probably a better game in game 4, Kevin Durant was still consistent. Consistently had good numbers, took better shots, took higher percentage shots. That's the key. Sometimes when you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And Steph is the kind of guy I'm starting to notice that he has to start making layups in order for him to start getting his confidence shooting, especially when he's not having a great shooting night. And so, I'm glad for the Warriors. Don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm glad for KD. Home area dude, DMV dude. Proud of seat Pleasant. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely happy for KD winning another championship. And forget all y'all people that are talking about, oh, KD, he left OKC. He wasn't going to win with OKC. I'm telling you that now. It wasn't going to happen. And you can say, oh, they almost beat him in 2016 with Russell Westbrook. Almost doesn't count. You got to beat him. And you could put some of the blame at Kevin Durant's feet. But when you're playing with a guy who plays a lot of ISO ball, and let's not act like Russell Westbrook doesn't play a lot of ISO ball, a lot of one-on-one, he's got to be the guy because he's not a point guard. What else is he supposed to do? So I'm not mad. I wasn't mad at KD when he did it. Still not mad at him for it. I'm not holding any grudges. Y'all can call it sucker moves all y'all want. Totally disagree. It's about winning. Who wants to be Charles Barkley for the rest of their career? Who wants to be Karl Malone for the rest of their career? Who wants to be Dominique Wilkins for the rest of their career? You know what I mean? People, and you can't. And Dominique, he didn't even make it. He never even made it to an Eastern Conference final. There's some people who just wanted to taste that. Who wants to be Patrick Ewing their whole career? Nobody. People want to win. And this man, when he gets on the stage, he is an assassin. Steph Curry, probably a couple notches below KD in terms of his assassin level. Although that shot that he hit at halftime in Game 4, pretty assassin move. Kevin Durant hit that one shot in Game 4. Good grief. I mean, it was from way out. And I felt like that was the dagger. But that's what you need. You need assassins. And I feel like that's the difference between Kevin Durant's, Steph Curry's, and then the LeBron James of the game. But LeBron's still the best basketball player in basketball. Shout out to him. We'll see what he does next year. We're going to go ahead and wrap up Reads from the Nosebleeds. And, yeah, we're going to get into another track before we take a commercial break. And we'll be right back on the other side. This is Bars.
If somebody tell you he hot, man, you know everybody hot now, Slim. He fish grease.
That's how we feel about this track right here. This is the Fish Grease Pick of the Week, only on Bars, on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
It's amazing to me how he thinks I'm stupid.
Crazy Kate on them beats.
Telling me all those lies. I just can't be, won't be another one. All those times. I just couldn't be another one. I knew. I just can't be, won't be another one. I knew. I just couldn't be another one. When it all began, I was looking for a friend, then I discovered another you. That look in your eyes caught me by surprise. I'm wondering what's up with you. You told me to trust in you, that I could depend on you. There's nothing you wouldn't do, but this one I had no clue. Tell me what has changed for you. This love affair I thought was true, but now I'm seeing deceitful sides of you. You told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just refuse to be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just can't be, won't be another one. Told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just can't be, won't be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just refuse to be another one. You gave my soul, gave you complete control. I gave my all to you. To turn around to find out everything about you wasn't true. You said I could trust in you, that I should believe in you. How could I be such a fool? Your words never had no truth. Tell me what has changed for you. This love affair I thought was true, but now I'm seeing another side of you. It's true. You told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just refuse to be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just can't be, won't be another one. Told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just can't be, won't be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just refuse to be another one. You told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just refuse to be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just can't be, won't be another one. Told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just can't be, won't be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. There's nothing there, there's nothing there. You told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just refuse to be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just can't be, won't be another one. Told me that you love me, but never showed you care. I just can't be, won't be another one, begging me to stay when I know there's nothing there. I just refuse to be another one.
More topics, more segments, more music means more bars after this.
Win DC Radio brings to you the app. Yes, the app is now available on your Google Play and your App Store, on your iPhone or your Android, any of your pads that you might be using. Be it if it's an iPad, iPad mini, or if you have a Samsung Note, doesn't matter what you have, any mobile device, you can get the app so you can listen where you're at to Win DC Radio.
Looking for a new look? Check out Hair Academy 2 in the shops at Iverson, Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. You'll get quality services done by developing stylists and barbers. Senior discounts offered weekly and free barbershop services available when you present a flyer. Chemical treatments are also available. Call 301-899-9100 for hours of operation. Hair Academy 2 in the shops at Iverson, 3705 Branch Avenue, Suite 1010, lower level, Hillcrest Heights. A new look is waiting for you at Hair Academy 2.
What's good, everybody? This your boy AJ Throwback, and when I'm plugging away at work and need a shot of energy, I'm tuned into the hot topics, dope music, and wild styles of my brothers and the kings of Monday night, Coach Taylor and Ransom Relic. It's Breakout Kings Radio Mondays from 8 to 10 p.m. only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app.
Powered by GoWin.media.
Foreplay the Orgasm Show. I am your host, Hot Toddy, along with the Turn Up team, Miss Lolly and Showtime. Foreplay the Orgasm Show is each and every Tuesday night from 8 to 10, bringing you the sexy slow jams with very adult interactive conversation, only on WinDC Radio.
Man, look, y'all already know what time it is. It's your boy, Gerard Street Garvey, and my DJ, Kid Cannon. And when we together, you know what it is. Grind Season Radio, each and every Wednesday from 8 to 10 on WinDC Radio. Don't forget it. Yeah.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Pastor Q. Make sure you tune into my show, The Cookout, each and every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Win DC Radio, powered by GoWin.media. Make sure you come check us out, see what we got on the grill. Check out my main DJ, Ty Shine, as we give y'all the hottest topics, the hottest guests, and whatever's cooking on the grill. Again, Win DC Radio, powered by GoWin.media. Check us out. It's The Cookout every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. You guys be blessed.
Plug Radio, breathing life back into radio. Sexy hosts, parties 411, free giveaways, celebrity interviews, the worldwide turn up before the turn up. Every Saturday at 8 to 10 p.m. on the WinDC Radio app. Plug it.
We hope you didn't go too far. It's time for the second hour of the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media. Very necessary commentary on the social, political, and economic issues stretching across party affiliations and demographic lines. This is the VNC, only on the Balancing Act Radio Show.
You know, like every time I hear that song, before we get into it, I think about my baby boy, young Lightning, the young Padawan. For whatever reason, he just takes to that song. You know, it was one day I was watching Do the Right Thing, and he heard that song on TV. He was like, fight the power. Fight the power. I was like, my man, that's my son right there. He already know. He already know what's up. But anyway, let's kind of get into some things that's been happening socially, politically. I kind of want to start off with this whole thing about mental awareness in our society, mental health awareness, excuse me. It's a public health issue, mental health issue in terms of depression, anxiety, suicide. As we are all well aware, last week we lost Kate Spade, who I think K-Spade was 55, either 54 or 55. She was pretty young when she passed. And, you know, she was, in her particular situation, because of course, you know, we know about her, we know about Anthony Bourdain. And the thing about K-Spade, you know, her situation, there was a little bit more writing on the wall with it, because she had been battling depression and seeking help for her depression for the past 5 years. And so, you know, she was trying to get a handle on it. And her husband, they were separated at the time. I think they had been separated for 10 months. One of the things that he said was that, you know, it wasn't one of these things where she left this suicide note or anything crazy. You know, sometimes the news trumps things up. But it wasn't anything crazy like that. It was, in fact, in the last couple of weeks of her life, she actually was doing pretty good, or she quote unquote seemed at ease. You know, so, you know, his whole thing was it wasn't business situations, or at least what he could perceive. But he didn't see anything wrong. She didn't seem out of sorts. She was getting help for her depression, her anxiety. But at the end of the day, she was still dealing with demons. And that's the thing about depression, anxiety. Like, some days people can seem like they're totally fine. Other days it's a little bit more apparent. But even still, in her situation, there was that indication that she actually addressed the fact that she had mental health issues. But then on the flip side, with Anthony Bourdain, the most that people could really say in his situation is that he was just absolutely exhausted. I mean, you think about it, like, he did Parts Unknown, which required a lot of traveling. But in a lot of situations, he was, you know, he'd do the show, he'd go to the places, the restaurants, and, you know, be with the chefs and all of that stuff. But then he would go into isolation. In both situations, with K-Spade and Anthony Bourdain, there were no substance abuse issues, because a lot of times when it comes to depression, suicide, anxiety, mental health issues, substance abuse can be a contributing factor, but nobody could point to that as issues for either one of them. And with Anthony Bourdain, the signs were even less apparent other than the exhaustion. But at the same time, he was described as being absolutely exhausted, in a dark mood in the days leading up to his suicide. But then you had a source that said we knew his nerves were shattered a little. His marriage had fallen apart. He was way, way overworked and overdriven, but unstable. No one had a clue. Or I don't know whether the person meant stable. But at any rate, there were no obvious signs with Anthony Bourdain. Or he didn't really say anything to anybody. Like, he didn't express it. He didn't go address it. He didn't say, I need to see somebody. And I think in a lot of instances, when you're dealing with so much, when you have so much on your plate, especially people in their positions, when you're dealing with so much on your plate, sometimes you don't make that cry out to people and say, I think I might be depressed. I think I might be anxious. I think I may be suicidal. It's one of two things a lot of times. Either they don't feel like, or one of a few things. They don't feel like there's that much of an issue, whereas they need to talk to somebody. They might not feel comfortable talking to people about it, even if they do address it. Or they might not have people in their circle who will come and say, hey, are you okay? Or, you know, checking in, making sure you're good. And so, you know, it's tough. And one of the things, I was reading a Washington Post article, I think it came out last week, and one of the things that they noted in that article has been between 1999 and 2016, there in 49 states in the United States, there has been a 30% increase in suicides. In 2016 alone, there were nearly 45,000 suicides. And we all know 2016 was a trash year. That was a terrible year. So, if I'm being honest, I could see why those numbers were so high in that year. It's a bad year. And it was actually double the amount of homicides in America. And now at this point, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in America. And among people between the ages of 15 and 34, it's the second leading cause of death. In the black community, here's a troubling statistic. Kids between the ages of 5 and 12, they are twice as likely to commit suicide than their white counterparts. And, you know, it's disturbing when you think about it. Going back to the larger demographic. I mean, you have things like failed relationships, economic troubles, substance abuse, crises that are going on in the world. You know, I know plenty of people who they'll just talk about the state of the world and it just kind of drives them. They just feel hopeless. They feel such despair. You know, work can stress you out. Your health can your physical health can stress you out to the point where you start feeling depressed. You start feeling down. But then when you get to black kids between that demographic that I said, 5 to 12, I mean, a lot of times adults will think they're kids. You know, like what despair could they possibly go through to drive them to that point where they want to take their life? But you got to think about how black kids are different than any other demographic of kids out there. There's still kids. A lot of them are forced to be adults before they're ready to be adults. A lot of them deal with developmental issues and not having those developmental issues being addressed. There's a lot of isolation issues, whether it's, you know, their parents not getting enough support from their family nucleus, from their social, you know, from people, their friends or whoever they socialize with. And it could, and then on top of that, you add other factors like seeing people get killed all the time, whether it's kids that's in their age bracket or people that are slightly older than them, being told all their life that their life doesn't matter. The color of their skin could get them killed. The color of their skin could get them discriminated against. So many different things. It's like black kids have so much to deal with before they can even get to the point of enjoying life. That not in every situation, but in a lot of situations, it's like they probably feel hopeless. They probably feel like, why am I here? I mean, you can hear it in the music a lot of times. That's the sad part. Me and my wife were having a conversation about that over the weekend. A lot of these new artists, they talk about the struggles that they've probably been dealing with since they were 5 to 12 and haven't addressed those issues. So,
see, they aren't educated on how to address the issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, my opinion. Oh, my bad. It's Gangsta B coming in. I love the issues, especially when it talks about mental health, addiction, and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
My personal opinion is, first of all, effective parenting skills have depleted from generation to generation to generation, where, people haven't taken parenting seriously, where you have people who, or parents have mental health issues, haven't gotten them addressed, then they have children with mental issues and don't know how to address the children's mental issues and so forth and so forth and so forth. So you got this spiraling down effect, and now you at 2018, where there's people don't know how to solve the issues where there are solutions out here. They just aren't sought because, well, I'm not going to say because, I will say there's a lie that if I go, or counseling is something that crazy people do.
Right.
People, guess what? You just might be crazy to some degree. Everybody does not think effective or consistently make a good decision throughout their whole life.
Right.
Which means that you're not perfect in some degree. You may need to talk to somebody.
Word.
And talking to somebody does not mean you have to go to Ayana and get your life fixed. But if you recognize some issues where you could see where there may be a taint in your own thinking, let's go talk to somebody about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I don't mean to cut you off, but in a lot of those, to your point, in a lot of those situations that I talked about, with that percentage being so high, people, they didn't have a diagnosed mental health issue.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it wasn't anything on record. Nobody knew, nobody could really know about it. You know what I'm saying? Even though they could have been dealing with it, they didn't go seek the help. You know? So,
and it, like for example, if I'm a lazy parent, how am I going to raise an energetic child? That child needs to be running around and doing certain things. Yeah, I could take them somewhere and let them run around, but then I have to cater to that energy. If I'm an energetic parent with a nonchalant kind of child, it don't match. We got to find the balance.
Exactly.
And learn how to teach the children what, try to cater to them so they can grow up balanced, if you will.
Absolutely.
That's just Gangsta B's opinion.
And I appreciate Gangsta B's opinion.
Because, like, for me, like, I understand that I have issues when it comes to certain things. So, in understanding that, I went and sought help for that.
Right.
And I don't go to one place. I try to keep my help spiritual based, if you will. And try to, go off of a moral value standard first and try to match that, and then I go from there and try to live according to that. Because I know that I've done some things that would not suggest that I'm a sane person.
I think a lot of us honestly have done.
We got to
things.
be real about it, though. That's the thing.
Things.
You got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not honest with yourself, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be honest with the people around you.
Absolutely.
Or the people around you might be sanctioning your craziness or insanity, and make you feel like ain't nothing wrong with you.
Right.
So, it's a lot of dynamics to it. It's a lot of components that go into mental health, and it's just addressing what the issue is and how to sort help for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And I appreciate you chiming in on that, Gangsta B. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
peace and blessings.
So I want to read, closing out this particular part of the VNC, I want to read something my homie Country put up on Facebook. These were, the first part of his words is from one of his friends, Maurice Franklin. So he said, "For those of us who are lucky enough to be free of clinical depression, do the necessary work of carrying the burden of communication for those who cannot. Depression is a disease. Familiarize yourselves with the signs and symptoms. Make it your business to check in with friends or family members who are self-isolating. Don't assume anything, and don't minimize their feelings. Center them in your interactions. Also understand that depression can rob them of their language, leaving them with the inability to articulate their feelings. In other words, it can be unfair to implore that they talk about quote unquote it when they don't know how. So be patient and be present. And finally, understand that for some, despite medication and therapy, suicide may be the only way to disencumber from the enormous weight of depression. And as illogical as it seems to most of us, suicide is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of final desperation. Be an ally in this struggle. And then my homie Country said, if you need a hug or a word or a biscuit and can read this, I got you. You know, well, man, Country, he always put the sweet part on the end. You know what I'm saying? Make it smooth it out. So, you know, we gonna wrap up this segment, and we'll wrap up this part of the segment. We're gonna come back, hopefully talk about some politics, some things going on in the city, outside of the city, and we'll be right back. This is gonna play some music. This is Young Gifted coming up. Shout out Young Gifted, featuring Guala Hamilton. It's called 90s here on Bars.
Told me just get your kids up out the hood. I remember back in the days we could just chill in the hood. I remember laughing and joking, just knowing that we was all good. I remember before Chris died, I had came back to the hood. I remember my mama told me just get your kids up out the hood. You remember 50-cent juices and pickled eggs all in your seeds. You remember niggas was getting highway before synthetic weed. You remember walking everywhere, it was like 200 deep. You remember back in the 90s, that was the days for me. I remember
when people was real and they ain't switch up for no trick. Your clothes could fit. Now people wearing tight-ish and you ain't called no one your friend. 50-cent juice, 50-cent bag of chips. We threw a cookout 20 times out the year. Everyone invited, homie, we ain't even care. Now people beefing, we can't go anywhere. Without gunshots, people dying every year. I done lost like 3 people every year. Through the blood and the sweat, I done shed some tears. Thank the Lord, cause he blessed me with some happy case. I remember going to the tunnel when T.O.B. playing my song. You remember girls at the go-go clapping 16 and some thongs. This is the life that I live, laughing and playing and doing it big. Now people hating and splitting your wigs. The way that we live, man, the world about to end. Trying to do good, but I'm losing my friends. You trying to do good, but you're losing your friends. Saying it's messed up, that's the way that it is. You trying to forget, I'm just trying to forgive.
I remember back in the days, we could just chill in the hood. I remember laughing and joking, just knowing that we was all good. I remember before Chris died, I had came back to the hood. I remember my mama told me just get your kids up out the hood. You remember 50-cent juices and pickled eggs all in your seeds. You remember niggas was getting highway before synthetic weed. You remember walking everywhere, you was like 200 deep. You remember back in the 90s, that was the days for me. I remember
back in high school, we skipped class, ran the halls all day. Security like, hey, we ain't even care what you say. We just sitting there waiting for a chance. You love to play, and everybody had that one roller in your class and one around the world. Yeah, I don't fake. Man, now I smash like two. Thank God I ain't got no A's. Back in the days, it was all good. Everybody family, this is our hood. Swear on everything, God enjoy my childhood. Know my child growing up in the wild hood. Messed up, but damn, that's the way it is. Bullets flying, mama's crying to even hit kids. The thug life, but I'm just trying to do it big. With all the Scarface, still struggling to live. Like, this is the life that I live. Laughing and playing and doing it big. Now people hating, they splitting your wigs. The way that we live, man, the world about to end. Trying to do good, but I'm losing my friends. Trying to do good, but you losing your friends. Man, it's messed up, that's the way that it is. You trying to forget, I'm just trying to forgive.
Did you remember? Somebody tell me, did you remember? Did you remember? Somebody tell me, did you remember? Did you remember? Somebody tell me, did you remember? Did you remember? Somebody tell me, did you remember? I remember back in the days, we can just chill in the hood. I remember laughing and joking, just knowing that we was all good. I remember before Chris died, I had came back to the hood. I remember My mama told me just get your kids up out the hood. Do you remember? 50 cent juices and pickle dates all in your seeds. You remember? Niggas was getting high way before synthetic weed. You remember? Walking everywhere, you was like 200 deep. You remember? Back in the 90s, them was the days for me. I remember.
Bars on Windy C Radio.
I actually like that tape.
All I want is loot. All I want is good bad. There ain't nothing new. I want what I want when I want it, run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Give me the loot. I'm a bad man with a good heart, triple up my lifespan with these millions that I gonna hustle for. Just call me bruh man upstairs, fifth floor, trying to make that salmon, bread, cheese, lettuce, let it eat. Water clean pink, let it eat. I do what I do, what you call me daddy. Whoa, everybody rap about the same. Whoa, I just wanna get my dad to vanish. Whoa, 3 kids and they know I'm hot. Whoa, y'all can read about it in my pamphlet. Whoa, big deal, sure to get big chills. Real view, spot them at the 10 mils. Numb feel when I gotta pay bills. I get it. Week after week, have to split it. Money will change up, but acting out, don't be a menace. I don't like these robbing conditions. I don't have a heart for it. We got a few mouths looking like I'm jaws coming. Full big cops looking like I've done it. Wish I did send the bank robbed anyway. You know what I mean? We all are some fiends that search for the green. They ran out of trees. Why you so mean? I'm out of my means. Wanna suck the life out of me, huh? Fully charged like my back's full of batteries, huh? Audemars on my arm like a fantasy, huh? Well, I'm a man, ain't no such thing as holding me back. All I want is loot. All I want is good bad. There ain't nothing new. I want what I want when I want it, run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Rent too high, them that blew my mind. Money too dry, doesn't heat my eyes. Never cry no tears, get back up and strive. Never show no fears unless they all go blind. I can't apply shit, up on my shit. Bring more heat to call exhaustion. Mama screaming out like oh shit. Where we bossing, dollars won't be making noises. Keep it focused, like the homie Mo. Vision of the blurry slopes. Slipping and dipping into Avengers, the villains' attention just so I can regret the decision. Mentality driven, the money is healthy, but dysfunctional living is killing the rhythm. I caught the feeling, Holy Ghost and the drilling and dosing without a syringe and punctured into the cranium to exact my revenge on the industry. Using my energy to rid and they don't deserve the loot from everything they have written, but all I want is loot. All I want is good bad. There ain't nothing new. I want what I want when I want it, run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Run it up. All I want is loot. All I want is good bad. There ain't nothing new. I want what I want when I want it, run it up. Run it up. Run it up. Run it.
Got a question about music, sports, politics, relationships, or anything you think Throwback can answer? Then send your questions for Hey AJ, what do you say? to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com or tweet us at Bars on Air.
You know we had to do a remix, right?
Hey, love.
Hey, Shirley.
Hey, look.
Talk to him, girl. Let's go.
First off, I look good. When I step in, I get a check. Bad girl straight from the hood. I'm on now and I don't care with that. If I'm chasing that bag, I'ma get it. Look, got that little broad in the feelings. Look, I see that little boy trying to hit it. I don't want him, I hope that he get it. I know she bad, look, but we know that I can do better. Look, I can do more than the looks. Look, so tell that girl get it together. Said I know she bad. Look, but we know that I can do better. Look, I can do more than the looks. Look, so tell that girl get it together. You can try to throw me shade, but I still know you want to taste. I need patience, they gon' pay me even though I came in late. What's the chase? What's the stitch? I look better than your chick. Boy, I heard she wanna be me. Tell that girl stay off my pics.
Shanti, you insecure chicks better watch what you say to me. I take your man, then get him robbed. Don't play with me. I look like a snack. You look like a mascot. You need a tummy tuck, your lip and some air shots. Shorty hating on me cause said she a 4 and I'm a 10. That though you think mine, you need to go see it. Oh, you far from a bad mine, you ain't even average. Oh, you hype, you got a pair of red bottoms, I could tell you never had. You impressed with them lame. Oh, I get it, you a lame chick. We in 2 different lanes, you'll never be a real main chick. You be moving like cat stacks, I'm bossed up like Oprah. Me and my boo be on the grind, I'm like B and he over.
But I better. When I walk in the spot, everybody turn up. Don't even look at her. Oh, she mad. What's the matter? If Jackie ain't this, Jackie ain't that. What a chit chatter. I got lips, small waist, more than just a pretty face. Make my own band, so we gotta make pretty cake. Lips, small waist. I know that he wanna chase. I know that she wanna hate, cause she wanna take my place. About the velvet rope, life in the flyway, bossing up, music up, watch me do it my way. DMV, baby, it's in my DNA. Now that we don't talk no more, he wanna say I'm fake. Because I look good, because I look good, because I look good. It's the Hollywood, hustle took me out the hood, hustle took me out the hood, hustle took me out the hood. Look at it, misunderstood. Hold up, take a drop, back up, on the wall. You know that I had to show up, that I stutter, no. Dancing on tables, feeling tall. Hear the DJ, this the replay, going on. Runway swag on, they can't believe the clothes. Look like a squad of models, camera flashes, make us go. Talking reckless about me and my cookies getting old. But every time you say my name, it's free promo. We bout the velvet rope, life in the flyway, bossing up, music up, watch me do it my way. DMV, baby, it's in my DNA. Now that we don't talk no more, he wanna say I'm fake.
Giving you the full spectrum with our topics, segments, guests, and of course, the best indie music in the DMV and beyond. This is the Balancing Act Radio Show, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield.
I spot a lion and a cheetah, a jaguar on the field. None of these cats be kings. None of these players be chiefs. None of these dogs be wolves. The fear soccer, I'm blue. That's right. I'm an animal, I'm a boo. I'ma shut him up with my cool. Name a player who can ride a boo. Name a player who ain't scared to lose. Name a player who ain't lose a tooth. Jenna Johns don't follow rules. Toys, another Puma boot. Growing trees that got blue roots. Tackle rebels, yeah, we do it live. Blue boys, yeah, we run in town. Trying to act like a high roller. On the ground like a Highlander. You be lying that you call cruising. Knock you out like a crusader. Throw a storm and a hurricane. Never take me out, I'm a heavyweight. Battlefield than a fist in. Taken down in the first team. Battlefield, but I'm fishing. A hookah shark that ain't swimming. I run it down there and I grill it. Fucking knife and I'm eating. Western force I am feeling. We chewing broomies like chappies. Tell your kings not to try us. Tell the rest to add color.
It's a battlefield. Yeah. You either run, or they fall on you. Oh, they fall on you. Yeah. It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield. You either win, or you gon' lose. Oh, you gon' lose. I'm feeling the crowd. We banging this now. They ain't banging this now. Winning it now. Taking it now for all seasons. We only here for one reason. I pull up out of here screaming. Cups on cups on cups. Spots they know we ain't cheating. Tackle. They hit the ground. Shake it. After we beat them. Storms, no jaguars, I ain't feeling this hurricane. Nah, got sharks in the sea. Been swimming free. Yeah, we been swimming. Bulls up this pride. Scoring goals that we keeping. Ons het die ballen. Het doelvijf dagpunten. It's okay. We gon' win all day. You know we don't play. Make the teams run away. Make your teams run away. Make your team run away. Make your teams run away. Make your team run away. It's a battlefield. Yeah. You either run, or they fall on you. Yeah. It's a battlefield. Either win, or you gon' lose.
Organizing any type of event to benefit the people in your neighborhood? Then submit it for the bar's community calendar. Send all important information, including point of contact, to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Yeah. DC's own Smoke D. Featuring W Styles with a Z. Yeah. Also featured on this track, Foul Skill. Don't trip. Hey. The best thing in life is life. That's true. Sometimes it's short-lived. So what you gonna do? Waste time hating on others that's trying to make it, or get your own act together and stop faking? People always tell me I'm about to blow up. I like to say how I feel. I like to say what is real. I'm no celebrity. I like to lay in the cut. Sometimes treat kids the goodies from the ice cream truck. Everybody's trying to make a living, and that's fine. How you get it, that's your business, not mine. Nice day to wash the car and just cruise. Redskins try to beat Dallas, but then lose. Why don't stand on the corner and sip booze? Youngsters do what they want, no rules. Lunch off synthetic weed like fools. You win and you lose, but this is everyday news, yeah.
Black male shot dead in the streets. A black kids without food to eat. A black girl without a baby daddy. Mama crying, she can't hold her grief. No job cause you were refused. Different day, but the same old blues. Can't afford to live how we choose. This ain't nothing but the everyday news.
Everything that's left to be uploaded on YouTube. Fans watching every move that you do. Killed your man's brother but got away clean. Cell phone GPS, you on the scene. Can I just walk through the hood and be free? Without 5-0 asking for ID. Charged for a crime, walking while black. Stereotyping me for selling pack. You put your hands in the air and still could get shot from a jack-up or either police, and that's a fact. Drama takes a toll on my mind, I can't think. Surrounded by violence and crime, so don't blink. Everybody's not gonna like what you do. Loved by many, but hated by few. Keep one eye open next time that you snooze. You win and you lose, but this is everyday news, yeah.
Black male shot dead in the streets. A black kids without food to eat. A black girl without a baby daddy. Mama crying, she can't hold her grief. No job cause you were refused. Different day, but the same old blues. Can't afford to live how we choose. This ain't nothing but the everyday news.
Well, let me grab the paintbrush and paint a pic. But 9 times out of 10, they still won't catch the flick. But let's keep it moving, cause standing still will get you hit. Get you 6 shots to the dome piece if you ain't hit. And that's sad, cause it's an everyday thing. Everyday banging on the next day, the same thing. Black balance is black power's kryptonite. Walking to the switch, better grip, they won't hit the light. I see the light, but at night it's a different light. Every race gon' pay, but blacks pay a different price. We the target and we unarmed, and when we are armed, we shoot our own. Like, come on, who gon' raise our kids and pay the light bill? Big mama gone, and if she not, she in her 30s still, and that's real. Ask Smoke, he's a real one. The youngest going wild in the hood, they try and kill something.
Black male shot dead in the streets. A black kids without food to eat. A black girl without a baby daddy. Mama crying, she can't hold her grief. No job cause you were refused. Different day, but the same old blues. Can't afford to live how we choose. This ain't nothing but the everyday news.
It's time to get back to AJ Throwback and Bars, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Welcome back with a B to Bars. So I didn't really get to everything that I wanted to get to today, but one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I did get to, there are a lot of elections going on. Of course, you know, we got elections going on here. You know, we're here in Temple Hills, Maryland, so of course there are Maryland elections going on. I'm sure there are Virginia elections going on, but I specifically wanted to talk about DC elections. Right now, of course, it's the primary election. There is early voting going on right now. I forget how long it's running until, give me 1 second. I can tell y'all when is the last day of early voting. I believe, yeah, early voting, it began on the 4th and it's over on Friday. So if you are a DC registered voter, make sure that you get out, vote in the primary election. What's being voted on: delegate of the U.S. House of Representatives, DC mayor, DC council chair, at-large member and council members for wards 1, 3, 5, and 6, attorney general for the District of Columbia, U.S. senator and representative, and also national and local party committee members, including the Democratic State Committee. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Jay Mills on, but I know she was busy today. But I still want to make sure that we, you know, kind of talk about the Dems for Action, DC Dems. What their functionality is that they assist the Democrats in shaping the party's message in DC and implementing campaigns such as voter registration and education. And I want to make sure that I specifically shout out, like I said, Jay Mills. She is running for Ward 5 committee woman for the Democratic State Committee, and also an MBYLI, Mayor Barry's Youth Leadership Institute alum, Marcus Batchelor, currently Ward 8 State Board of Education rep. He is running for the Democratic National Committeeman. And so, like I said, the early elections are still going on until Friday. The main day, if you can't make it to early voting, Tuesday, June 19th, the polls open at 7 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. And also on the ballot, which must be mentioned, is initiative measure number 77, which is the District of Columbia Minimum Wage Amendment Act of 2017. If enacted, this initiative will gradually increase the minimum wage in the District of Columbia to $15 hourly by 2020, gradually increase the minimum wage for tipped employees so that they receive the same minimum wage directly from their employer as other employees by 2026. Beginning in 2021, require minimum wage to increase yearly in proportion to increases in the Consumer Price Index. The minimum wage increases under the initiative will not apply to DC government employees or employees of DC government contractors. So that's an important initiative on the ballot for June 19th, or if you're early voting, till Friday. But make sure y'all get out to the polls. I'm not telling anybody to vote for anybody in particular. I don't necessarily endorse anybody, but I definitely have to shout out people who I know or I've come across that I personally know are good people who are serious about their campaigns. And so once again, I want to shout out Marcus Batchelor and also Jay Mills. So make sure y'all get out and vote, and you know, be informed voters. Make sure you study each one of the candidates, look at their platform, look at the things that are important to them, the things that they're pushing, and you know, vote responsibly. And so that wraps up the VNC. I did want to get into a new segment. Give me 1 second. This is something, you know, I kind of wanted to do last week but didn't really get the chance to do, but we're gonna go ahead and unveil this right here.
When it comes to the funniest laughs and the most outlandish statements we've ever seen and heard, the information superhighway is undefeated. This is...
Yeah, so this particular one, I don't know if I can necessarily consider this a winner unless you're talking about some of the comments that were made. So one of my homies, guy that I've done music with before, Shan Major, shout out Shan Major. He has shared a status from somebody, and look, I'm gonna put him out there. His name is, I guess, R.U. Taylor on Facebook. And so put up a status that said Beyonce literally stole A. Marie whole style, shaking my fucking head. And when I saw that, there were a few things that I thought, and of course, I'm chilling with the wife. And I'm telling her, and one of the things that she said that I wholeheartedly agree with is that it's a ridiculous statement for one of the biggest reasons, because Beyonce's style is simply a grown version of her style when she first came out with Destiny's Child. Nothing more, nothing less. Like her, as I studied her voice, just the way that she sang, she went from having a lot of modulation in her voice when she was singing to really, working with a vocal coach and getting a lot of that out of her system, because I mean, she was on her way to sound like Baba Black Sheep. But this is the way that I took it, because I'm always thinking like a producer or a songwriter. So my whole thing is, if you're making any kind of argument, the main thing that I would say is, okay, when she came out with the Dangerously in Love album, she had a lot of Rich Harrison or Crazy in Love produced by Rich Harrison. That was the main thing. But then, and I have to say Rich Harrison from the area, Rich Harrison was A. Marie's primary producer. And so it's logical to kind of make the assumption that, okay, Rich Harrison did the lion's share of A. Marie's first album. Then Rich Harrison goes to work with Beyonce, does Crazy in Love. I can definitely see the A. Marie style. But then let's not forget, he also produced for Kelly Rowland. I think it's Can't Nobody off her first album, Simply Deep. That was produced by Rich Harrison. Then you go to B-Day. He produced Sugar Mama and Freakum Dress. And then Take This Ring, Toni Braxton. So I don't necessarily agree with the fact that Beyonce stole A. Marie's style. But a lot of times when you have a particular songwriter or producer, they have a certain way they want their songs sung if they're producing an R&B song. And I don't necessarily think it's so much that it's A. Marie style, even though it is part A. Marie style, but look at who she was working with. Most people who did Rich Harrison tracks sang like that. And Beyonce still had her own style. So to say that she stole A. Marie style, it's like, it's a reach, dog. It's a reach, you know. But people will have their opinions. People will feel however they feel about things and think that, okay, this is what it is. And that person could have their own argument as to why they feel like that's true. But if I'm looking at the facts and I'm looking behind the scenes, that's the way I'm looking at that situation. I don't think Beyonce stole A. Marie style. She don't have to steal A. Marie style. Doesn't have to. Now, her husband, on the other hand, and he's my favorite rapper, but, you know, we could get into some things that he borrowed and may have quote-unquote stole, but that's neither here nor there. I don't hear it. I hear the similarities, but I don't personally hear it. But, you know, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. We're gonna keep it moving.
Let's see what's happening on the bar's community calendar.
All right, so got some events coming up in the DMV, of course. This weekend, Imagine Family Day, festival and book fair. Free day of fun for the entire family with interactive and educational community festivities designed to celebrate the cultural and artistic diversity in Prince George's County. This is happening Saturday, June 16th from 1 to 6 p.m. Prince George's African American Museum and Cultural Center at North Brentwood, 4519 Rhode Island Avenue in Brentwood. Featuring vendor market and book fair, moon bounce, face painting, early keepers workshop, live art activity, food trucks, and music by DJ Super Sid. Special guests include Callaloo Cultural Literacy for Kids, Farfina Khan West African Drum and Dance Ensemble, and the Prince George's Children's Theater. Cost is free. For more info, just go to imaginefamilydayfestival.eventbrite.com. Once again, that's imaginefamilydayfestival.eventbrite.com. On Sunday, June 24th from 2 to 6 p.m., the Wong host of A Seat at the Table podcast, my homegirl, she is putting on the Mix and Mingle Matinee, a Juneteenth celebration centered on fellowship, a discussion about the 3 pillars of freedom for the Black community, which include financial literacy, education reform, and mental health and wealth. And also includes a showing discussion of Spike Lee's Get on the Bus. Again, that's Sunday, June 24th, 2 to 6 p.m. at Smith Public Trust, 3514 12th Street Northeast in the Brooklyn neighborhood. Free for general admission, $30 VIP, which includes open bar, free movie and popcorn, and a chance to be on the podcast. Special vendors include Crafted Artistry and Boomari Publishing, featuring another one of my homegirls, Tiana Talea. Hopefully she will be having, I'm sure she will have copies of her book, Allure No Regrets. And tickets are available on Eventbrite. Just search the Mix and Mingle Matinee. Part of the VIP, the $30 for the VIP, will help raise funds for the Savant 7 Communities Build the Pillar Fund, which will be a community incubator where the community can frequent when they want to create, build, grow, and commune with one another. For more info, you can, once again, go on Eventbrite, or you can follow the Wong host. She's at a seat at the _ table on Instagram, seat at the _ table on Twitter, and grab a seat at the table on Facebook. And also, the homie Ryan Lucas, he will be one of 2 opening acts along with Il Mac, opening for Slum Village, legendary Detroit hip-hop group. They will be at Songbird Music House, 2477 18th Street Northwest in Adams Morgan on Monday, July 16th. Doors open at 7 p.m. The show starts at 8 p.m. General admission, $22, $40 for VIP meet and greet. You can look it up. Tickets are available on ticketfly.com. That is ticketfly.com. And so, you know, like I said, you got some good events coming up soon, some little down the line, and we will have some more events. Remember, anybody that's having an event going on in the DMV, please email us. Please email us. We want to showcase your events at balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. Once again, that's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. All right. Gonna close out with this.
Words of wisdom to get you through the rest of your week. These are the bars for life.
So I want to set up this week's bars for life. So Ezra Taft Benson, he's the guy that's up this week. And, you know, I saw this quote come across because we got Father's Day coming up, and I definitely want to encourage my fellow fathers out there because, you know, there's always a lot of hoopla for Mother's Day, but Father's Day doesn't always get the same kind of love. But ironically, before I read this quote, when I saw this guy's picture on Wikipedia, I was like, this guy looks like a complete and total racist. And lo and behold, I look at the information about him. Now, granted, he's a former Secretary of Agriculture under President Eisenhower and president of the LDS Church, that's Latter-day Saints. And he was a virulent, I always forget how to pronounce it, racist. He thought the civil rights movement was a communist conspiracy designed to destroy America, and his son, Reed Benson, was part of the John Birch Society, who was notably opposed to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But I had to think of what my late mother-in-law always used to say: I take the meat from the bones. And I still want to read this quote. It says, fatherhood is not a matter of station or wealth. It is a matter of desire, diligence, and determination to see one's family exalted in the celestial kingdom. If that prize is lost, nothing else matters. And so, for my fathers out there, I just want to drop that with y'all to let y'all know fatherhood, it really is a gift. It is a blessing. It's one of the best things personally that's ever happened to me. And it's one of those things where you just want to see your family win. You want to see your children win and do better at life than what you did as a kid or as an adult. You want to see them level up. Everything should be about leveling up and then ascending to the highest of high. And so, even though it came from a racist, still some jewels. Still definitely some jewels. So that's how we balance things out. Even though sometimes it comes from people who may have some views we don't agree with, sometimes you got to take the message and not shoot the messenger. So anyway, before we close, I got to read the results of the poll. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. What are we looking like? So, the results of the poll. Again, the poll was, if winning proves to be contagious, which one of the other 3 major DC sports teams can you see winning a championship in the next 3 to 5 years? Between the Nationals, the Wizards, the Skins, and nobody. If it'll actually give me the results. Bear with me 1 second. Results are in. 75% of people, and I'm in agreement with it, feel like if there's any team that's going to win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years, it is the Washington Nationals. So, Washington Nationals, y'all are on the clock. What y'all gonna do? Caps, they just wrapped up. We just had the parade. Now we trying to see. Y'all gonna be the next to bring us a parade. And, of course, 25% of people said nobody. So that's sad because nobody voted for either the Skins or the Wizards. So, Nationals, y'all on the clock. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to close with a really, really nice song that I'm really feeling by a group, April and Vista. This is Own 2. And I just thank everybody for tuning in, listening to another episode of Bars. We will be back next week. Special guests. We got Jay Heat in the house next week. So make sure y'all tune in for that. Once again, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Bars On Air. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
This is what I came for. This is what I made for. Give me what I paid for. Said
No.
That's it.
I did it. Mommy did it?
Yes. I do it.
Oh.
You want to say the bars?
You want to do bars?
Bars.